So, you're the pop culture whiz. Yes, and you are... Actually, I don't know who you are. The name's the media whiz. Yeah, and he's a media-controlling dictator who basically forces his people to view crap while he gets to kick back and enjoy good entertainment. How did you know? His future whiz explained everything while you were gone. Well, if you must know, I originally wanted to come and kill your future self for intruding my universe, but on second thought, I'm here on a different mission. Seeing that I now know of a world that has not felt my wrath, I feel like I want to take this universe over. Well, if you want this review-verse, you're gonna have to go through me. Mano a mano? Future whiz, 30s man, go back in the closet. Now. You got it. Right away. Sorry folks, we are experiencing some technical difficulties. The media whiz is, hang on. We are now about to air a pre-recorded review for this week's review. In this case, it is a review of Spider-Man One More Day, issues 1 through 4, featuring a new character on the show, Liam the Random Bystander. Hope you enjoy. Hello, I'm the Media Whiz, because my form wasn't enough. So, Linkara did a top 15 worst comics he ever reviewed on his show list, and 2 comics were not on that list. One of which was Holy Terror, the second of which is today's topic. One More Day. One More Day is well known for being one of the worst comics ever made. Why? Because, to make a long story short, in the comic, Spider-Man makes a deal with the devil. With a little bit of backstory, the comic all goes back to a comic called Civil War, and at the very end of the comic, Spider-Man reveals his identity, which leads to Aunt May getting assassinated. But let's check out the full story with One More Day.
I feel like Wiz is reviewing One More Day. I gotta do that with him.
The comic begins by showing Aunt May in a hospital on a life pump. Eventually, Peter gets his spider tights up in a bunch and ends up going to confront Tony Stark. I wanted to make sure you didn't fly away before I was done with you. Also, this is not for putting me in Avengers. Anyway, Peter blames Tony for his aunt getting killed, which is weird because Peter earlier was blaming himself. Well, except for Jarvis end up trying to pay off some loans for Aunt May, nothing really happened. In issue 2, Peter goes to the house of Doctor Strange, who, for sheer story convenience, can't find a way to fix this. Telling me that Doctor Strange, the guy that can pretty much do anything, can't solve such a simple problem as this? There's a word that we reviewers like to use for that. It's bad writing. And it's made worse by the fact that Doctor Strange shows all these other people in the universe that can help, and of course nobody has the answer. Yeah, no. You're seriously telling me that Dr. Octopus and Dr. Doom couldn't do anything, even if it meant that they could screw Peter over later? How far are we in again? Issue 2 out of 4? This is gonna take a while. So Doctor Strange ends up showing Peter the assassination. Why? Is this some kind of sick joke against Peter Parker? So with all that nonsense out of the way, issue 3 begins with Peter coming across a little girl who basically tells him that he's being an idiot. You're selfish and self-involved, and always your pain has to come at the center of the universe. She's got a point. You've been bitching and whining about something that essentially you should just grow up and realize is gonna happen. So she leaves, and Peter comes across this comic book nerd guy who gives us all this bullcrap about the only reason people read comic books is because they want something more with their lives or because they like to insert themselves as the characters. Okay. If you want to roll like that, Mr. Joe Quesada, Mr. I'm a famous comic book writer, want to say that every person that reads comic books is a fat, lonely loser nerd? I can say this. Every person in the industry that writes comic books are a bunch of jaded, cynical assholes that have something against people who read comic books. Don't like it when someone throws fire at you? Oh, and you want to know who that was? Peter from another timeline. And we get another Peter from another timeline, this time being a famous rich businessman, but of course he can't find the right woman. You're rich and you're not unattractive, so how is it you're not able to pick up ladies? Oh, and then Peter comes across a lady in red who turns out to be the devil. Or Mephisto, as they call him, her. Oh, come on. We all know that if Satan was a woman, he'd be Elizabeth Hurley. So Mephisto tells Peter he can bring Aunt May back to life, but it comes with a price. The marriage of Mary Jane. Wow. 3 out of 4 issues and we finally got to the point of the entire story. I guess you could say this entire comic just needed to... get on with it! In issue 4, they finally talk about the deal. Mephisto says that he can make Aunt May okay again, but Peter and Mary Jane will have never met. And surprisingly, Mary Jane is okay with this, despite the fact that she's just now been brought into the story as a main character. So the titular One More Day finally comes into play, and the one more day that they spend together just has them sitting in a dark room holding each other. That last one page. Excited. So, the deal is done, Peter wakes up, Aunt May's alive again, and every comic book fan of Spider-Man burns the freaking comic in the trash can. This comic...
This is the worst comic ever. Granted, the artwork is pretty good, but overall, the comic is terrible. The characters are mean-spirited, stupid, or both. The first 2 stories are just there to waste time. Part 3 is just a stupid Spider-Man remake of It's a Wonderful Life. And of course, Spider-Man would never actually make a deal with the devil. Worst comic in the history of comics. Period.
Thanks for the sum up, Liam?
Yeah, but you agree, right?
Well, yeah, One More Day sucks, but I can easily think of a comic that's worse. And that comic is... Damn it, transmission. Alright, this has gone far enough, alright? Put your weapon down and I might not have your blood paint all the walls, alright? Now, got any last words before I vaporize you to crap? Yeah. Shield dick. What? Oh, dick! Bye-bye, asshole. Damn it! Guys, it's okay to come out. Got rid of him. Hey, Wiz, you did it. Yeah. Well, good job, kid. Yeah, and if you'll excuse me, I have to read another comic book for the next review. Yeah, a comic that's worse than One More Day. Let me guess, it's Sanchu, isn't it? You guessed right. Well, I'm the media whiz, because warrant for him wasn't enough.
One day more, another day, another destiny, this never-ending road to Calvary. This man who seems to know my crime will surely come a second time. One day more. I did not live until today. How can I live when we are parted? One day more, tomorrow you will be world.
That dick. Kicks me in the nuts, takes my weapon. I don't know, it hurts something. Oh my, sir, you're back. Well, you happy to see me back again? Future Wiz, get working on a new blaster as a phaser miser. That asshole thinks he's gotten rid of me? Well, he's a serious disappointment.
I was born to be with you.